So I was really curious to try a Roccat mouse because I had never tried one before, but I've heard a ton of positive things about Roccat mice, even though they aren't necessarily the lightest mice out there, but I've heard incredible things about the shape and the comfort of the Roccat mice. And now I for sure am a believer, and that has a lot of truth to it. We're gonna be taking a look at the Roccat Kain 200 AIMO, I don't know. The Kain 200 wireless from Roccat. Funny name. Let's go ahead and get right into the review. First thing I want to talk about is the mouse buttons and the performance. This mouse probably has the absolute best mouse buttons I have ever used on any mouse. And it's not necessarily because of the sound either. It's really because of like the travel distance and the response that you get from the mouse. Like the actuation of the mouse button is so much sooner than every other mouse I've ever used, including the Razer Viper and Viper Mini and Viper Ultimate. It's just that there's not a ton of movement before you actually actuate the mouse button, and it leads to the clicks feeling a little bit faster than everything else that you've used. Even though these clicks aren't optical, the performance you get is still very good, and so is the response time, just because of having that lack of pre or post travel. And honestly, the way they design these buttons with that lack of pre-travel before the actuation, it makes every other mouse I've ever used kind of look and feel dated when you actually take a look at how quick this mouse actuates. And the side buttons, fire. Dude, these side buttons, the actuation feels just as good as the mouse 1 and 2 feel, as well as the placement of the side buttons is excellent. Absolutely perfect. I will not change anything about the placement of the side buttons on this mouse at all. The sensor performance, this is the Owl Eye sensor from Roccat, but really it's just a PMW 3335 sensor. It tracks just as good as a 3360 or a 3389 that I've used in the past. I will not say that it feels any slower or less responsive, or any weird travel or different liftoff distance or anything. Like, it just works well. Nothing really more to say about it. And even with it being wireless, the performance wireless is really good as well. I can't really tell the difference between this mouse and any other wired mouse that I have. In terms of the build quality is very, very good. This mouse is solid. There's literally like no creaking or flex or nothing. Like, this mouse is an absolute tank in terms of the build quality. It does weigh in at like 105 grams, and it's very surprising because I think it has more so to do with the balance of the mouse. This feels, for some reason, maybe only like a little bit heavier than the G Pro that I used about a month ago, which weighed in at about 80 grams. This, for some reason, feels like it's closer to 85-ish grams, and I think that, like I said, has to do with the balance of the mouse. So they do a good job with masking the fact that it's by today's standards, it's a fairly heavy mouse. The coating on this mouse is really, really good. It looks similar to the SteelSeries coating that they put on their mice, but it's different. Like, it's kind of matte, but it's not matte. It's kind of rubberized, but it's not rubberized. It's sweat resistant, so you don't feel any sweat if your hands get kind of sweaty if you're, I don't know, trying to win the World Cup or something in Fortnite. But honestly, I wish that more mice used this coating. It just feels really good. And then the shape of this mouse is good. Extremely comfortable, balanced weight. I don't really have more to say. It's comfortable, and the weight is balanced, and the weight is balanced and it's comfortable. In terms of the battery life, I haven't used this thing obviously for 30 or 40 hours straight, but it does seem like the battery life is on pace to hit about 32 to 35 hours during the time that I've been using this mouse. It's been dropping pretty consistently, but when you plug it in, it does charge really fast. So I plug it in like, every 2, 3, 4 days just to make sure that it's good while I'm gaming. I don't have any issues, any response time issues, or none of that stuff. The higher you keep your battery charged, just charge it regularly. So just charge it responsibly. It's not gonna die on you during a session. If you charge it like every 3 days or so, just leave it on the charger overnight while you're not using it, so you don't have to use the terrible included cable that comes with the mouse. And speaking of terrible, these mouse feet are also not the greatest I've ever used. Like, these are definitely some Teflon bottom of the barrel mouse feet. And for almost $100 mouse, I would wish that they included some decent PTFE feet. They don't have to be the best of the best, just some decent, better gliding PTFE feet. I like the shape of the mouse feet because the glide surface is pretty massive, but the glide as a whole is not necessarily that great. Now, I've been using this on some better mouse pads. Like, I have some mouse pads from Novel Keys that I like, and surprisingly they feel really good. I also have the Odin Gaming mouse pad, and if you have a good mouse pad, you don't really have to worry about the mouse feet as much because the glide is gonna be smooth anyways. So if you do end up picking this up, I will leave a link to the Odin Gaming mouse pad in the description below, because that's probably one of the best gaming mouse pads that you can get. And it's definitely gonna help out quite a bit with the glide of this mouse. Try it on your run-of-the-mill mouse pad, you'll probably hate the glide. Try it on a much better mouse pad, and I'm sure you'll be fine with it. And then the software, there's a ton to customize in the software. It's not the most glorious looking, it's okay. There's a lot going on. It seems kind of cluttered. I wish they would clean it up a little bit. Overall, I do think that the Kain 200 is a really good option for a solid wireless mouse at around the $100 price tag. And then if this thing goes on sale for like 70, 80 bucks, honestly, I think it's a steal. If you need a wireless mouse, you want to be comfortable, you need a little bit of RGB, solid, I take that back, not solid, but the best clicks on any mouse, you're looking in the right spot. But all right, you guys, that is going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Huge shout out to my boy TNT as well for letting me borrow this mouse and try it out. Roccat, they make some really solid mice. The build quality is A1, the comfort is unmatched, and yeah, you guys seen the review, you know. If you want to try it yourself, I will leave a link in the description below. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Feel free to follow my Instagram to see some tech pictures and all that stuff on a pretty regular basis, a few times a week. And feel free to join the Discord if you guys want to hear about sneak peeks on upcoming videos, or hit me up directly for any advice if you need some new tech. Thanks again for tuning in. I will catch you in the next video.
I could show this gun. This gun was literally loose in the ground. He's weak on me. Coming around towards middle. Coming around to your left. Alright, got one. Dude, one more. It's you know who it is. He's to your right. One more. Still got like red shoes. Not anymore. He's running for his life too. Sword peeking. That's
Yeah, they're together too. They're holding hands right
Are you fucking sick? Okay. I know. If y'all want to play like this, I got you. Last word and shotgun. You want to start playing like this?